Hey, welcome back, everyone. Pleb Underground. I'm your host, Phil. This is the signal without the slop. Guys, let's dive into the stories that we are going to look at today. Got some good stuff. Solid hopium. Let's dive into what we're going to be looking at. Besides the hopium, we've got some more stable coin news. That's right. It's stable coins forever, according to the government, because that is their only tool. Can't really leverage Bitcoin with the exception of pointing at it. Core versus knots. That's right. Gonna piss off more people. It's pretty wild what's going on. Trylolli. Most people from this cycle probably aren't really aware of Trylolli, but they are a Bitcoin stacking product that came out probably about 4 years ago, if not longer. I remember interviewing the CEO of it. Yeah, it's gotten a little bit weird. We're gonna dive into their new, I guess they were purchased or they merged. Anyways, we're gonna take a look at that because it's pretty ugly what has happened, and customers are not very pleased. Yeah, there's also a solo miner win. We're gonna take a look at that setup and see, like, what was it like? What did that solo miner actually win with? Right? Was it just like the little, right? Just a single little miner, or did they have a whole setup? Anyways, guys, you know the deal. Going to give a shout out to the Pleb Underground sponsor, and then we're going to be right back for all the news. Let's do it. Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. All right. Well, to Z-Logic's point, that's not going to be very easy to compete against Stonebase live stream. That's okay though. That doesn't bother me, right? For me, I'm just it's about actually creating the content and having fun reviewing all of this stuff. But I appreciate it. It's just the way it goes. Anyways, all right, let's dive into it right away. Let's start off with solid video here of Eric Trump, right? Eric Trump saying the magic words. Let's do it.
Government be buying Bitcoin because it's the single greatest performing asset over the last decade, increasing in value 70% a year over year, every year. Like Germany a couple years ago, there's a great article. You might know the exact numbers, but Germany had like 30,000 Bitcoin or something along those lines, and they sold it right away. They monetized it into their currency, and it was like the worst investment ever made by a government. And by the way, that's a pretty damn low bar, as you know, right?
I appreciate his honesty. He recognizes that the government is terrible at making money. That's good. That's good.
The government should definitely have certain crypto assets on their balance sheet, mainly Bitcoin. And actually the United States government does, right? You have a lot of forfeitures.
Correct.
And they've taken a great stance saying that we're not selling any of it. You have a lot of countries around the world that are actively buying.
Okay. I just want to point out, they're actively not selling. The US government has said they're actively not selling any of it, but they're confiscating all of it, right? They're not actually buying any Bitcoin. Yeah, I know. Just saying, it's not as great as everybody thinks, right? Yeah, exactly, Salty Crayon. Government is great at spending it and printing it. If the government was if you could buy shares of the government, you would be losing money. Okay, like that is a company you would never touch. Anyways,
if you go to the UAE, if you go to a lot of countries, they are actively putting that in their treasuries. And you look at the Fortune 500 companies, they are actively hoarding Bitcoin. The biggest families, the biggest companies, countries, sovereign wealth funds, and individuals are all hoarding Bitcoin, right? It's why it's been as explosive as it is. And it's funny, people are like, oh, well, Bitcoin's down like 3% now. It's like this time last year, Bitcoin was at like 55,000 or 60,000 roughly.
Okay, so he's definitely paying attention. I mean, look, guys, everybody that is wealthier than you or I, that knows more about markets, even though they came to Bitcoin significantly later, they are now buying Bitcoin. That is the signal. That's right. Rich people late to the party buying Bitcoin is the signal, right? Not us plebs lifting ourselves out of terrible situations and being able to actually, right, create our dreams. It's about these wealthy latecomers. I'm so happy for them. Anyways, that's good times. Let's continue on. Hey, if you were afraid of the Mt. Gox stuff, Don't worry. It's all good. It's all good. Mt. Gox delay, and it is actually legitimate. Here is the real letter. They are going to be delaying their payments to October 31st, 2026. Nice. So they're going to give us a Halloween scare next year. That ought to be interesting. That ought to be interesting. And just for perspective, Mt. Gox currently holds 34,689 Bitcoin per Arkham Intelligence, and they've already repaid 19,500. Now, you may say to yourself, wait a second, they've already repaid 19,500 and I didn't notice? That's right. You didn't notice. Why? Because Mt. Gox FUD has been hanging over our heads for like 8 years, if not even longer, maybe 10 years. And I kid you not, in the last 2 bull runs, I remember I'd be all excited. I'm like, all right, that's it. We're going to the moon. And then boom, somebody puts out a Mt. Gox article. The Mt. Gox, it has no more power here. Okay. It's just like the Lord of the Rings meme, right? It's like there's just no more power here. So goodbye, Mt. Gox. You're not scaring anybody out of Bitcoin anymore. And to be perfectly honest, as Bitcoin matures, right? The 34,000 Bitcoin, it's like, okay, great. So you're like a treasury company. That's it. There you go. That's your effect in the market. You're like a single treasury company. Yeah, whatever. Not too worried about that. Anyways, let's continue on, guys. More, yeah, I guess it's Hopium. I guess it's Hopium. Why not, right? IBM trying to reinvent itself. Why not? Why not? Gotta tell you, though, I'm not very confident. I'm not very confident in IBM, only because I've actually been following the company for a very long time. No, I do not hold any shares in that company, but I can't help but pay attention to a long story where you have one particular CEO in the last 10 years that has just figured out how to destroy that company. Okay. And that's what he did. He totally, I totally forget what his name is, but he completely fumbled on the quantum stuff. He fumbled the AI stuff. He fumbled cloud computing. It's just that CEO. So that's why when I see this foray, right, into digital assets, I'm like, yeah. I know that they tossed out the CEO. There's a new CEO that's coming in. Hopefully, right? This new CEO knows what he's doing a little bit better rather than just, grinding it out for a paycheck at the top of the board. We'll see. Anyways, IBM's digital asset haven aims to turn crypto into corporate infrastructure. Spoiler, everything besides Bitcoin is corporate infrastructure. That's the point. It's not doing anything new here. Anyways, IBM's platform will offer U.S. businesses and governments crypto custody and payment services by the end of the year. Wow, they're doing the same stuff as everybody else. The new platform called Digital Asset Heaven will enable institutions to directly access on-chain yield from decentralized finance, DeFi protocols across 40 public blockchain networks. Spoiler alert, the second you start seeing DeFi protocols, digital assets, you already know, they're not talking about Bitcoin anymore. It's not about Bitcoin. It's about stablecoins and shit coins and all of that stuff. It's just nonsense. But anyways, look, good luck to you, IBM. Good luck. Hopefully, you can lift yourselves out of the doldrums, because the last 10 years have not been kind to IBM. And I'm not 100% sure that this direction in DeFi is actually going to help them. But hey, that remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. Anyways. Mt. Gox. Sorry. Always so disappointed with the Mt. Gox FUD. It's like they try to. It's like this. It kind of reminds me of like reanimating these zombies, right? It's like you reanimate this zombie and you push him out into the street and you say, "Go, scare people, scare people." It's kind of what they're doing there. Anyways, all right. So. MSTR Hopium, that's right, guys. They're getting another shot at being part of the Standard & Poor's, right? We all know Standard & Poor's is a very private, it's a very private good old boys club. And last time around, MicroStrategy couldn't get in, right? Couldn't get in there. So they're taking another shot. And this time, it's different, right? Because they've been assigned a B- credit rating with a stable outlook. So look, I'll make a prediction. I will say, how about this? I'll say this. I would like MicroStrategy to get added to the Standard & Poor's to pump my bags. There you go. Because I think it's going to bring more attention to Bitcoin, and I hold Bitcoin. So there you go. That's what I'd like to happen. Now, do I actually think it's going to get added to the Standard & Poor's? You know what? I think they're going to make them suffer. I genuinely think that they're gonna make them suffer and that they're gonna make them wait. Let's see what actually happens, right? Let's see what actually plays out. I really don't know. I'm not sure that Michael Saylor has done enough of the humiliation ritual on Wall Street to be permitted access into the S&P. We'll see, right? We'll see. Maybe the S&P has decided to make Bitcoin part of its focus. Right? We'll find out. But yeah, I don't have any specialized knowledge in this direction, right? There's no insider knowledge on my part. I'm just guessing. So we'll see what actually happens. Okay. And that's pretty much it for the Hopium. Let's take a look at some of the stable coin stuff, right? Yay, stable coins. Western Union, one of the oldest remittance platforms and remittance services in the world. Look at that. No surprise whatsoever that Western Union bending the knee, right? They're doing a stablecoin pilot program for cross-border transfers. Oh my gosh, we are surprised. But you see, this is the thing about Western Union, right? Western Union already has a massive moat. Okay. So they're going to pilot a stable coin based settlement system for its 150 million customers. The company changed its stance on crypto, of course, after the passage of the Genius Act. No surprises there. Western Union processes 70 million transfers quarterly across 200 plus countries. Zelle and MoneyGram are also integrating stable coins, but they're nowhere near the footprint of Western Union. Anyways, look, I think it's going to be interesting for Western Union. That stock has been a dog for a very long time. It is probably one of the most boring companies in the world, to say the least. And I remember before Bitcoin, that was one of the companies where I was trying to be an investor, right? I was trying to buy these companies that were essentially trading to a discount to their intrinsic value, right? The Warren Buffett way. And I had figured out that Western Union was worth significantly more. I did not understand why that thing was such a dog. And anyways, I ended up sitting on it for I don't know how many years, only to sell it at break even. So yeah, Western Union, very boring, very predictable. Not the greatest. Again, boring and predictable can be good if they're paying out dividends. But Western Union at the time, anyways, when I bought the shares, that wasn't the case. Anyways, good luck to you, Western Union. Good luck to you. I hope this works. More stablecoin endless summer. Here we go. JPYC plans to issue 66 billion yen backed stable coins, but one factor could make it go gangbusters. Spoiler alert, there is no factor that makes it go gangbusters. They're just buying a whole bunch of treasury bonds, and yeah, they are going to issue their stablecoin. Corporation issuing a stablecoin. There is nothing new under the sun. It's so interesting, right? To see, like, essentially this is, and it should be no surprise, right? Companies clamoring for government approved moats, government approved rails, right? Government approved, like that's what this all is. Like, you can only see there's only a few players really messing with Bitcoin, and the rest are all just hanging around the stable coin swamp. Hey, good morning, Cold Deck. Oh, Western Union only got a popular mention in Back to the Future. That's so funny. You know what? I don't even remember that, but that is a good point, right? Like the stable coaches. Wasn't it like Back to the Future 3? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Back to the Future 3. Yeah, anyway, so Circle, right? UK's Clearbank joins Circle to allow European users access to stablecoin payments. Yeah, there you go. Yay, more stablecoins. So this is kind of the way that you know, the Pied Piper, right? He's got the little Bitcoin logo in front of him, you know, and he's playing this interesting tune, and all the lemmings behind him are following him. Yay, they're following him for the Bitcoin. And then right as they get to the edge, he takes the little Bitcoin picture down and he puts up the stablecoin thing, and he goes, "Ha ha! I got you with stablecoins." Such garbage. It's okay though. It's okay. The stable coins fail, guys. It doesn't make a difference, right? Like, all the stable coins are is kicking the can down the road. That's all they are. Okay. Trylolli. So some of you might remember Trylolli. Some people don't. It's a service that came out. It's a stacking service. Essentially what it was that, you know, you can, let's say you could shop on Amazon or whatever it is, and Trylolli would have a plugin, right? And if there was a discount available, then you could get sats back for your purchases. I mean, it's pretty good, right? It's a good concept, right? It's the concept that gets used pretty regularly. The hype around them kind of died out though, right? Like, other businesses came along like Fold, and then, you know, exchanges like Gemini and stuff like that started offering their Bitcoin backed credit cards and stuff like that. And it just, you know, to me anyways, it seemed to fizzle out. Yeah. Well, they revamped themselves. Shout out to Predator for this one. Read this thread for a nightmare. And don't worry, we're going to take a look at the thread, guys. Users of Trylolli can't withdraw their BTC after management change. What the hell happened? And he tagged Aubrey Strobel, who I forget, she's like marketing or something like that for Trylolli. But yeah, so interestingly enough, this company went the shitcoin route, and it's pretty funny because I actually exposed this shitcoin. It's the Meso network. I actually exposed this. I did a video on this. Maybe I'll throw it into the show notes for you guys. You can go back and take a look. I exposed this thing like probably a year ago. I also argued with the CEO on Twitter because, of course, right, like especially when they're at the beginning of a campaign, they have to spend their time arguing with the trolls, right? And I just could not get a real answer as to why he didn't just use Bitcoin and why they have a shitcoin. And of course, it's because they don't bring any real value without the ability to extract as much value as possible from the users. And the easiest way to do that is with a shitcoin. Anyways, let's continue. The story's pretty bad. Yeah. So you've earned it. Now own it. Not so much. Welcome to the Owners Club. Oh, nice. Make you feel good. I'm an owner. We've partnered with Meso Network so you can earn more sats and grow your stack without ever having to sell. Here's what this means for you. Now let's watch this little video. Don't worry, it's not very long. That shows you attempting to move your sats, right, to a Bitcoin wallet. It's so stupid. So you can't withdraw your sats already on the platform, right? And somehow they've done the mental gymnastics to try to make their customers believe that moving your Bitcoin into a shitcoin address, right, converting your Bitcoin to shitcoins and then moving it onto this shitcoin platform is somehow withdrawing your sats. What kind of nonsense is this? So here's the video, guys, and you can you can clearly see right here. Look, so here's your Bitcoin, right? Here's your sats. And look at what's happening. The destination address, that ain't a Bitcoin address. That's a shitcoin address. They're just lying to you. Look, how much do you want to send? Withdraw to Meso, right? Withdraw to the shitcoin network. This is not Bitcoin. This is not Bitcoin. It's just embarrassing. That's all it is. Yeah, there's more. There's more to this. Yeah, once you've connected your accounts, you'll be able to withdraw funds from Lolli to Meso. Withdrawn funds cannot be sent back to Lolli. Okay, so once you turn it into that shitcoin, you're stuck in that network, and then you can go and, you know, swap it to USD or something like that from their network. It is just like, talk about a fall from grace. It's pretty bad. And there was a really upset customer, guys. So here we go. Aaron Malone, shout out to you. Shout out to you for having this conversation here with Matt Longo. That's the guy I had the conversation with as well. I'm not signing up for some scammy network. Let us withdraw our sats. This is beyond ridiculous at this point. So Matt responds back and goes, "Welp, it's not a scam." Yes, it is, bro. It is. You created a token out of nothing. It is totally a scam. If you want to wait for Lightning support or another withdrawal option, you're welcome to. Yeah, you're welcome to wait. We're never going to do one because the whole value is in us getting you to move your Bitcoin into our shitcoin. That's what it's all about. I'm the guy you're de facto calling a scammer, by the way. That's great. DMs are open if you have something on your mind. And this is, just so you know, guys, this is always the better shitcoin grifters, right, are usually excellent at personal at PR, right? They're usually excellent with that. They have a fantastic calm tone, very trustworthy. I mean, don't forget something, right? Some of the worst people, right, out there are narcissists, right? And narcissists can absolutely change, right? Unlike a unlike a cheetah, they can change their spots. Okay, they can sit there and make themselves very likable to you and all of that stuff. I'm not saying that Matt's necessarily a narcissist or anything like that, but what I am saying is that the best salespeople, right? It's because they gain your trust. That's what ends up happening, and they sell you an idea in the future that doesn't actually exist. Anyways, so Aaron is asking, what's the shitcoin token and why do I have to sign up for your network to withdraw my sats? The ability to withdraw on chain should and always was a given, and that's true. This has scam written all over it. Okay. And here's Aaron's last comment on this. Your shitcoin is called MUSD. There is no need for a token. Why not let users pay on-chain fees to withdraw? And this is true. They literally could have just left everything the way that it was. Literally could have just left everything the way that it was and let people just withdraw. The mempool is empty. This feels like a cop-out on your part. I understand Lightning takes a little time to implement, but you guys have now had over 4 months. The fact that you said Bitcoin gas is a huge red flag, I totally agree, because that just tells me that you're shitcoiners, right? Just when you're calling it gas. No users were notified by the takeover. You said you sent emails out to everyone. 0 people I've talked to received one. You disabled withdrawals from day 1 without notifying anyone. See, that's the kicker too, right? They disabled withdrawals. Okay? Lolly is now complete garbage. You have no merchants on the app. The plugin is worthless. I got to tell you, I found the plugin worthless when I installed it like 3 years ago. You can't earn or withdraw. Why would anyone use or trust you guys again? You've completely killed what Alex built. Yeah, unfortunately. And I guess Alex kind of saw the writing on the wall, right? And maybe that's why it went in this direction. You know, that could be it. Could be it. The fall from grace. It's too bad. Okay. Anyways, let's move on here. Let's give a little shout out to the you know what? Let's just rip the band-aid off. We'll do the core versus knots update, and then we'll do something a little happier, right? So yeah. Right. This is it's a post from Cali. Ocean is an attack on Bitcoin. I don't necessarily agree with that stuff, right? So I'm just saying, like, these are the posts that I'm coming across. And essentially, this is a post from Greg Maxwell on the GitHub in reference to, I believe it is BIP 444, the temporary data removal. Sorry, I don't remember the name of the BIP. It doesn't really matter. Legal representatives associated with Ocean are now also contacting and acting coercively towards other miners and using false claims on this PR as backing information for their claims. As such, I believe leaving this PR open is contributing to fraudulent claims and conduct, and it should be promptly closed. Discussion can obviously continue on the list. So yeah, supposedly, again, right? Supposedly this PR, right, about restricting the data temporarily, supposedly is being used by Ocean lawyers. I don't really know that. I only know that from these posts. But I will say this, okay? There was a post here from Brian Bishop, who is a maintainer for Bitcoin Core. And he provided an update last night saying that the BIP is locked and not closed. So I guess that kind of puts it in, kind of suspends it for the moment, but make no mistake, the discussion has not gone away. This isn't over by any long shot. This is not over at all. I really hope that we don't get a fork. I mean, I know that people are like, yeah, free tokens, I get to dump them on the market, but trust me, I shouldn't even say trust me, but this is not going to be fun, guys. The amount of FUD that we are going to see, the amount of disingenuous messaging from everywhere, right? From everywhere is going to be insane. Okay. For the people who were not here during the block size war, you might want to read up on the block size war. Because yeah, kind of get you a little prepared as to the type of crap that we're going to end up seeing. Anyways, all right, guys, the solo miner, right? The solo miner that mined a block. I get excited every time, right? Because I've got a couple of solo miners that are right, that are obviously working. And even though I believe that I will not actually mine a block, my monkey brain way in the back goes, but you might. There's always hope. So that's right. He was all excited. Umbrell quoted him. I managed to do it. I managed to do the goddamn impossible. I got a block. Everyone says it's hard. You're wasting your money. You'll never find one. You have to get at least a few PT to have any chance. Okay. Well, let's go see how many hashes he actually had going, right? Because this was not just a single miner. Here's his setup. Very nice, by the way. I can appreciate this. So for the people that say you need several petahash, he did it with less, right? He did do it with less. However, right, and these are NerdAxe QQ pluses, and you could see he had at least 6 of them, and he also had if I'm not mistaken, one Canaan Nano 3S. So I don't know. I believe that there's only been one block that has been found by somebody with one of those little bit axes. Like I'm talking about with a single bit axe. I could be wrong. It might be 0. But so far, everybody I've seen who've mined a solo block, they've had to had a little bit. Like you can't just do it. At least from my experience, you can't just do it with one. So did have to throw in some cash, of course, right? It doesn't make a difference because the reward far outstrips what he spent. ACP, it definitely looks noisy. It definitely looks like something I'd want to keep in the basement. Although I do know that the kind of case that he's using, this is like it's like a small little like desktop server case. So it does a pretty decent job of insulating the sound. I had one very similar to this. So yeah. Congratulations, though. Congratulations. I am obviously jealous, right? It's like every single person who's running a solo miner is like, congratulations on getting that block, and like your teeth are so clenched, they're like cracking almost. Yeah. All right. And you know what? Last but not least, let's give a shout out to a fellow Bitcoiner, right? That is doing some solid work, right? Like this is the thing, right? This is, builders building, right? Bitcoin builders building. And let's go take a look. So you guys might not know this account. Mullen Labbe VC does a lot of hardware all on his own, creates, like you could see over here, the 4 projects that he has going on: SolarBit, an LDR, a BitAxe LAN mod, NerdAxe LAN mod. Now, the BitAxe LAN mod and the NerdAxe LAN mod, that I can actually speak to those, because essentially when you get one of these solo miners, right, it only connects through Wi-Fi. Now, there's always a debate between how steady your connection is on Wi-Fi versus LAN or wired. And in my experience, if you can have a wired connection, it is preferable, always. At least to this date, to the present time. Maybe in the future, right? Like that's going to change as technology gets better. But if you want to have the most stable connection possible for your miner, right, you do want to have a LAN connection. So yeah, man, shout out to you, right, for doing this, for doing this work. I always like to showcase, some of these accounts that are just kind of building on their own and nobody's really helping them, and they just, they're doing their thing, right? And we want to give them some love, right? And here, take a look at his nice little. Let's go take a look at his website. See the stuff that he's working on here. Mullen Labby. Way to go, dude. So here we go. The Emerge Axe, the Solar Bit, the BTC Node Satellite, BitSats Relay. So you could see he is definitely pushing the sovereign individual angle of Bitcoin and the Bitcoin tools. And I appreciate it. That's fantastic stuff. Guys, that is going to do it for today's daily live episode of Pleb Underground. Hope you have a great rest of the day, and I am going to catch you all tomorrow. Same time, 12:10 p.m. Eastern Time. Peace.